Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a get ready with me playing with some new goodies. So I have a fun foundation that we are going to be using today. This is from Valmont and this is the LUXE de Glaciers Teint. Probably gonna butcher that last part, so I'm gonna flash it up here, but we're gonna be using this foundation on my skin today that I did pick up the Westman Atelier. This is this limited edition Petal collection. It comes along with a Petal highlighter, the blush, and the squeaky clean lip balm in Petal. So we're going to be playing with that. I was also asked if I would recreate the eye look that I did in my last video, my September's favorites, and I was using the Chanel. This is the tweed in number 1. I'm going to recreate that eye look as well as finish off with a few other fun makeup items. So if you are interested in seeing how I got this look, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we are going to put some makeup on this face. I have got so many fun goodies to try, and the first thing that we are going to try today is this foundation, and this is from Valmont. This is the Elixir de Glacier Tint, and I just got a most fabulous facial the other day at Luxe Atelier, and they do sell some Valmont products. And Angela Morgan, the owner of Luxe Atelier, who rarely uses foundation, she literally just uses her color science. She likes to mix flex and glow together. She taught me that little trick, but she had said she absolutely loves this foundation. So I actually have a little sample here just to make sure the color is correct. I ended up buying it in Ivory in Shanghai. I believe there's only 4 colors in this foundation, so that's giving it a knock, but it is basically going to have skincare in the foundation, gives a slightly dewy finish or glowy, whatever we want to call, and it's got some coverage in it. So I had tried this before and really liked it, but of course I was overthinking the shades and I never picked it up. So I believe this is Ghidra's favorite. I'm not exactly sure, but they have 2 different ones. One's going to be more matte, and then this one is going to be a bit more on the dewy side. So we are going to use that, and what I thought I would do is show you this foundation like one side with just the foundation, and then the other side I'm going to mix in a little bit of glow because Angela said this can be a little bit full coverage for her, and that she likes to mix just a little bit of the glow into it just to kind of loosen it up a bit and make it a little more sheer. So we're going to start with that, but first let me swatch the shade right here. This one is Ivory in Shanghai. So yes, this only has 4 shades, and honestly they're all light shades. So this has Sandy Beige in Paris, it has Ivory in Shanghai, Porcelain in Kyoto, and Natural Sand in Malta. And the key ingredients in here is the Essence of Bees Complex, the Honey Propolis, and Royal Jelly that's going to combine to nourish, repair, and soothe the skin. This is going to provide a satiny finish. It also has some light reflecting pigments in it, so it's going to give your skin a nice little glow. It says it's suitable for all skin types. I would probably say that this is going to be for those of you that have more dry, possibly mature skin. I think that if you have oily skin, this might give you just a little bit too much glow because you get that natural glow automatically. And it actually says it comes in 5 shades, but on the website I'm only seeing 4 at the moment. So hopefully there is a darker shade. So we're going to try this shade on my face. I was hoping that it was not too light. So that is why I have not opened this up yet. So here it is blended out right here. And I do feel like this might work really well, especially in the more fall and winter months. Now it does have a thicker consistency on my hand as I'm kind of blending it out. It does have a little bit of thickness to it, but it's very silky. That's what I would say. And it is definitely going to give you some coverage. So we're going to do half and half. One side just with the foundation itself, and then the other with a little mix of glow. So I'm just taking a little bit here and we'll go halfway down the side of my face. I'm going to start with fingertips, but then I do like to use a little bit of a beauty blender because I really want to sink this into the skin. So as you can see, definitely has some coverage to it. Going in with the damp beauty blender, this does dry pretty quick, and I just like to really pat this in to the skin. And make sure that I am bringing down that foundation to the neck so it is blending all together. Okay, we've done half of my face over here. I'm just going to show you, it does let your skin shine through, gives you a little bit of a glow here, but it definitely has some coverage too. And you can build up the coverage or you can sheer it out. So now we are going to go ahead and sheer this out just a bit. So then I'm going to take some of this foundation and then I'm going to squirt a little bit of that glow mixed in, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of this. Okay, so we have one side with just the foundation on, and then the other side I sheared it out with a little bit of glow. And as you can see, the side's obviously going to be a little bit glowier, but it also is a little bit sheerer than this side. So for those of you that are looking for a foundation that's going to have skincare benefits in it, this might be one that you might want to check into. So I'm just going to use the warmth of my hand and make sure that the foundation is all kind of blended in. And then we're going to go ahead and do my eyes next before playing with the Westman Atelier. I have the Petal edition, and it's going to include highlighter, blush, and a little lip balm. So excited to play with that. Now the other day I was actually wearing the eye quad from Chanel. This is tweed cuivre, and this is #1. And I had several of you ask me to recreate the eye look that I used that day. So I love this quad. It's just going to give you this beautiful bronzy everyday eye look, and I've clearly been using this one a lot. So I was asked if I would recreate that look, and of course I said yes. So what I did was I started with this shade down here, and I put that all over my lid and a little bit into my crease, just a tad. So I'm going to start with this lighter shade here. So I'm starting with this shade here, and what I did was just place this really pretty shade on the mobile lid. And I love this shade just on its own as well. It's really pretty. Isn't that a pretty shade? Love that. Then I went over to this gorgeous bronzy shade, and I placed that on the outer V and slightly into my crease as well. So I just took that pretty color and I packed that deeper shade towards the outer V here, and then I went on up into my crease using a light hand. We're going to be adding a little bit of lightness back onto the mobile lid with the gold shade. So don't worry if it's looking a little dark over here. We are going to lighten things up, and I have not put any concealer on either. Then I'm coming into the deepest shade first because that's more of a topper shade. I'm going to come into the deep shade. I'm using my Chanel #205, and I'm going to line the lash line with this darker color here. Focusing more on the outer part of my lash line. I also really love this brush for lining near the lash line. So I'm going to come in, and I'm first going to focus a little bit thicker towards the outer edge here. And then take this through near the lash line. Then what I'm doing is I'm going into the slightly lighter bronzy shade right here, and I am going to run a little bit of that underneath my lash line. Essentially a little bit like 3/4, just a little bit of shadow to connect everything. And I'm not using the darker shade, I'm using that lighter bronze. I'm trying to keep my lower part of my lash line a little bit lighter, but I do want to connect everything together. So I'm quickly going to run a little bit of the brightening eye kajal in nude, just in the waterline here. So that's going to brighten that up. And I just do one swipe, otherwise it looks a little bit funny on me. And once I put on mascara, everything all comes together. But now I want to add a little bit of lightness back onto the mobile lid. So I'm going to take that gold, and you can either use your finger and pat it on or a flat brush. So I am using actually this chantecaille. This is like the sweep brush here, and there is a little bit of fallout with the topper. So what I like to do is just come over and I will press a little bit of that onto the eye, and I like to bring it over to that inner corner. Is that so pretty? It just looks so darn pretty, you guys. Adds a little pop on the eyes. I just think that is such a gorgeous foil there. So I just press it and then sweep it. Isn't that gorgeous? And it definitely is going to pop your eyes. Love that. Then what I did was I took whatever was left on the brush and I lightly brought that up into the brow bone, but this does have some sparkle in it, so I wanted to keep that mostly on the inner part of the eye. I'm taking a fluffy brush that is relatively clean here, and then I'm just sort of blending everything so there is no harsh edges. And then what I did was I took a little bit of Chantecaille's, this is Raven, and I just tight lined right near the lash line just to make it look a little more impactful. So just a light amount wiggling through the lash line over here. Not doing a line on the lash, like I'm literally wiggling through the lash line over here. Taking my hands and I'm just gonna kind of wipe underneath my eyes here, and then I'm going to go ahead and ground my eyes, put on my mascara, and then I'll clean up my brows as well. Okay, we've got some eyes on. I'm now going to put on some concealer to brighten up the underneath the eyes, just clean everything up. I'm using my Chantecaille. This is the Le Camouflage Stylo, and I'm just going to come in the deeper parts over there, a little bit on the outer, and this will kind of clean up and brighten up underneath that eye. And then I am just coming under here, using the warmth of my fingers, going to mesh that concealer underneath here. I'm going to do that trick using the brightening kajal, and I'm just going to come underneath my eye over here, right where the brow, just making this a little bit more crisp. And then I'm going to be blending that in. Really love that little trick because I totally feel like it lifts my eyes a bit. Now we have a nice little canvas, but I really need to add a little bit of color back into my face. We're first going to start with my favorite. This is Westman Atelier Face Trace in Biscuit. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that. I'm going to create some shadow on the face and just a little bit up in the hairline, and then a little bit here underneath, little shadow. And I'll just kind of go down the sides of my nose and just a little at the bottom. And I'm taking the brush over here and I am going to blend this in. And I've been liking this brush for all sorts of things. So not just the liquid, it works great with the creams as well. And I'm just kind of blend that into the forehead just a bit. And then when I'm blending underneath my chin, I just kind of pull down underneath here and then do a little blending of this on the nose. So we've added a little bit of warmth into the skin, and now we are going to use this little Petal edition, which includes a super lit highlighter in Petal. This is part of this collection, so pretty. Let me give you a little swatch on my hand right here. Isn't that pretty? So it's just got a little bit of that pink rose color in the sheer highlight, which I love. This is just so pretty. Another one of my favorites is Nectar. Love Nectar. And then it comes with the Petal blush, which I actually needed to pick up again. I went through a whole petal, so isn't that so pretty? Love that. And then it comes with one of her squeaky clean lip balms, and this one is in Petal. So we are going to be adding all of those on my face here. I'm first going to start with a little bit of the Petal blush. Put some on here. I'm grabbing her baby blender. Sorry guys, it's not clean. It's not that dirty. I wash my brushes once a week, but yes, this one has not been washed this week, so probably should have done that before doing this video. But I'm just using that baby blender and blending it in first with the brush, and then I'll use my fingers to really put this where I want it. But this is a nice little, this brush is a nice little brush as well. Another tip is I didn't need to put the blush on directly from the tube. I could have just taken a little bit of that on the brush. So I am going to just kind of pat my fingers and blend that into the skin. Isn't that a good color? It's just going to give you a little bit of freshness to the skin here. A little bit of a flush. Love that. Now comes the fun part. We're going to add a little bit of this highlighter on the tops of my cheeks, and this is always just going to make your skin look so healthy. I've got several of these, and I have Nectar and the translucent one. I'm forgetting the name, but I really love these little highlighters. They create more of a glass skin look, so just really pretty. Gonna take that. Put a little bit of that on the bridge of the nose. Definitely gonna have a little bit of a glow going on here. I'll put a little right above my cupid's bow here. Definitely got a little glow going on the cheeks. I'm going to tone it down just a bit. I'm going to be using her powder. This one is in Creme, and that is just to kind of set everything. But the beauty of this powder is it's not going to completely take away the glow. I just want to kind of come through the T-zone here. I'll just do a slight sweep underneath my eyes. And I cannot for the life of me find my bubble powder. I'm starting to think my daughter might have stolen it, so I'm gonna have to order that because that's my favorite. That one's gonna be a little bit more brightening. So I'm just taking a little bit of the powder, guys. So I'm just taking a little bit of the powder. I don't want to take away the shine too much, but set everything with that powder. Okay, we've got a nice little glowy complexion going on. Then I'm going to use the Squeaky Clean Balm in Petal. This is so pretty. Let me swatch that for you. And this is the gloss in Petal. Isn't that so pretty? Love it. So I'm going to put that on my lips. Love that color, so pretty. And then I'm going to do a quick sweep of, this is the Valentino. This is the Universal Bronze, but I've kind of been using this like I usually do with Sicily, where I take the bronzer on my big fluffy brush and just sort of brush it everywhere as a finishing powder, because this one is so pretty. So I'm just taking a teeny bit of that, guys, and I am just going to brush a little bit of that as my finishing. As a little finishing touch. Then I'm going to quickly put a little spritz on. I'm going to be using my Valmont, the hydrating fluid, and then for fragrance of the day, I had pulled out my Angel's Share the other day, and I was laughing because this was one of these fragrances that sold out when it first launched, and then I was like, had major FOMO. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get my hands on this. So many of you were telling me that I was gonna love it, and it was just sold out all the time. So it isn't sold out anymore. I think the frenzy has stopped, but the point is this is just still such a great fall fragrance. So I'm gonna go ahead, put some of this on. Okay, as many of you know, I love Tonka fragrances, and this one's going to be more of a boozy Tonka fragrance. So this one's going to have a little boozy quality with cognac as a note. Then it also has tonka bean and oak wood. And then it's got this beautiful layer of gourmand notes. It has got cinnamon in here. It has got a praline note that is just delicious. It has a creamy base of sandalwood and a touch of vanilla. So this fragrance completely has fall vibes. People have described this as apple pie, like it was baking in your home, and that's what you're smelling, is that beautiful apple pie. I don't believe there is an apple note in here. He does have another perfume. I believe it's like Applejack or something like that, that I actually really liked. Like I was like, ooh, I really like that one. It's not Applejack, it's Apple Brandy. And that one I found was a bit fresher, still had those kind of gourmand boozy element notes in it, but it leaned just a bit more fresh, and I actually really like that one. I want to get my nose on that one again, but it was in the same vein as Angel's Share, and this is just such a delight to wear. I would say this is a great transitional fall scent. I'm finally getting to pull out a few sweaters. It's starting to dip into the 70s a bit here. Usually it is much cooler by this time of the year, so kind of enjoying that we're still having sunshine and warm weather, but also craving a bit of fall where I want to pull out my sweaters and my boots and wear a little bit more of those warm and spicy fragrances. And this fragrance is popular for a reason. So many of you told me I had to get it, and then anybody that I recommend this to, they just love it. So I pulled this out the last few days and I've just been falling in love with this again, and that is Angel Share by KILIAN. Okay guys, this is my final look, playing with some new goodies. I'm bringing you in a bit closer so you can see this foundation with the makeup on, and I will leave some notes below as to how this wears. I have been playing with the sample for a few days, and what I will tell you is that by the end of the day, this one is going to stay pretty much like you see it right now. So it wears really well. I do feel like it almost becomes a little bit dewier in a pretty way, and that it looks more skin-like as the day goes on. So some foundations tend to have that wear and tear through the day that maybe they don't look quite as good. I personally think this is one of those foundations that I like a little bit later in the day because it has had time to kind of mesh with my skin. I'll have a little bit more of a worn look, but remember, I also am not somebody who loves like super high coverage foundations. This is not, but it definitely has more coverage than I normally wear, and so I think I like the fact that it just sort of blends in a bit more, meshes with the skin, and looks like skin. So real quick, this is the half with just the foundation. And then this side, I cut it just a little bit with the glow. So you can see this one is a little bit glowier. It's also a little bit sheerer, but I do kind of like both sides, to be honest. Like if I was going to an event, I'm definitely going to want to wear it more full coverage. I'm going to want to wear this on the day-to-day. I'm probably going to cut it just a little bit with the glow. And then one other thing I just remembered that I wanted to share. I have not purchased this. This is definitely an indulgent little splurge. But Valmont has this most gorgeous beauty oil, and it smells so amazing. Like I love the smell so much that I was like, oh, I would love this in a perfume. And she'd use just a few drops as my finishing serum using that Valmont beauty oil, and I was like, oh, I just love the way that it gave my skin a glow, but it also smelled so good, and that is because it has that bee propolis in it and that royal jelly, and oh, it just is so amazing. So if you're in the market for a very expensive beauty oil, I do think that you would use just a teeny bit, so it probably lasts a long time. That is one I would recommend. Oh, it gives your skin such a glow, smells amazing, and I just want to coat my whole body in it. um, so anyhow, I hope all of you have a fabulous weekend, and I will be back with another video soon.